What's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel over here at Mike's Garage. He's gonna help me put the transmission in tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and stick this thing in, try to spool it up. Hopefully this thing goes pretty smooth. Went pretty smooth getting it out, went pretty smooth getting it back together. So maybe this will be smooth as well. Hopefully I didn't just jinx myself. So let's get this thing up on the lift, shove the transmission in it and crank it up, spool it up, see if it'll go. Comment, like, and subscribe. Don't forget to go to turbojohnracing.com. Grab yourself some merchandise. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, so Mike is fixing my dipstick tube. It was cracked and broken and leaking. So he found a crack and it broke off. So he's fixing to weld that back up real fast. This makes life a lot easier. Torque converter is pushed back. One thing you want to make sure of, every transmission is a little bit different, but this area right here is as far back as it needs to go. It will click twice. You will feel it. It'll click, and then you keep turning it and pushing it back, and then it will click in. If you don't get it in all the way, you will kill the pump for sure, possibly mess the thrust bearing up in the motor as well. So that's what you gotta do. Now this bell housing is a little on the older side. It was, I think, from like late 90s. It looked like it'd been recertified once. So hopefully we'll be good. Put some silicone around this. That was leaking a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead. Actually, I better wait for him to get that so we can go ahead and get the dipstick in it before we try to push it up in there. Check these guys out. These TBM brakes, zero drag, no resistance. These things are unbelievable. Just the way they stop the car and the way they do that. I mean, they're so lightweight, unbelievable. We got the line on the proper side, so we're good there. These Thomas Racing Service struts, unbelievable. Those long travel, lots of travel, tons of travel in this thing on the front. These wastegates, Black Sheep Industries, they are working phenomenal, unbelievable. This right here is a little bit of, this thing produces water. It produces a lot of condensation when we're spooling up and running. A lot of the drips you see, the way I have my wastegates run on my car, they've got very light springs in them. I mean, very light. I think they were blow-off valve springs I ended up putting in there. So when the car is just idling, it has no CO2 on this. CO2 only comes on when I go part throttle, 50% and more. The reason I do that is to conserve CO2, but it's also a mechanism that allows me to, if I ease off the gas, it will drop CO2 so that it'll drop boost and, you know, potentially make the car run better. These are at the low points, so guess what happens? You get condensation building up here and it drips out right here. And you can see where it runs out this one more than that one over there. And, you know, so that's a problem, but I don't know what to do about it other than put the CO2 on top of the wastegates all the time, but then I lose that benefit, what I'm trying to accomplish by being able to pedal the car. But regardless, these Black Sheep Industries wastegates, unbelievable. Y'all go check them out. They sell turbos as well. True North, Kyle Boosted Lifestyle. These things are freaking awesome, man. Need to polish them up a little bit. That's the only thing that really is pretty on the car at the moment. Got our turbo up there. That's our forced inductions. 102 millimeter turbo. So that thing works awesome too, but at some point I'm gonna try, probably on the other car, I might try one of the True North turbos as well. But we got our 36-1 wheel on this thing. Very simple combination. A lot of people don't like the 36-1. They like the 12-1 magnets now. But I still like the 36-1. Enderley cast iron pump here. It's a 110. I honestly probably need to get that thing rebuilt, but I'm kind of scared because this thing don't make no fuel pressure hardly at all at an idle. So that makes it work better with my injectors. So over here, you can see the block seal. That's the white stuff. We put some block seal in this thing. Tried to get the head gaskets to seal good. And it does appear to be sealed now, but you can see they were leaking like freaking crazy to start with. And so one of the things that was the problem, I think, the heads are not receiver grooved, one thing. And Danny asked me, did he want me to do it? And I told him no. And I did not think about it, but the O-ring is sticking out of the block. And he's got the O-ring sticking out, I think he said 12 or 15 thousandths. And I was running a thick 70 thousandths gasket. So with that thicker gasket, it was able to take up the space, I think. But with this gasket, I dropped to a 50 thousandths gasket because deck height was a little bit taller, so the piston's a little bit further down in the hole. So I put a thinner gasket on it. But I think I'm gonna need to get Danny to cut me some receiver grooves in the heads to make this work properly. But it does feel like it's sealed up now. It definitely is sealed up compression wise, but you know, copperhead gaskets sometimes leak and seep, and you know, that's just one of the things. And I can't believe I got aluminum block in this thing. This thing is a turtle to be having all this nice billet stuff. Rear end, I think we're gonna put a little bit more, anti-squat in. Where we normally run it when we're running no prep stuff, but it's like the front of the track, no prep stuff. So I think what I normally do back of the track is I'll move this bar up to here. I've been leaving the top bar the same, but we may today go ahead and move this one down a hole to give it a little bit more anti-squat and keep it down, keep the insert center kind of down a little bit versus moving it up here to bring it a little higher. I think that's what we're going to do. But otherwise, I mean, the wishbone stuff's still working out good. We've not got a chance to put the tin soldier stuff on it. I really want to do that to shorten up this top bar. We're gonna have to do that at some point, but I just have not gotten there yet. Rear end is now, that thing rolls flawlessly. Remember when we first got the brakes on this thing, they didn't really fit right. Y'all know, you remember how they didn't fit at all?
Oh yeah.
And they finally, I'm gonna get some TBM brakes for the back here at some point.
That's like us dying with the Dodge, and never couldn't adjust with the self-adjuster.
Right.
And we put about 3 pulls on it, and getting close to 1,000 horsepower, and the brakes were dragging.
And they were dragging. And you're like, come on. Got these QA1 mod series shocks. These things right here are freaking phenomenal. Love these things. They work really good. We turn them upside down. I ain't never had them upside down before. It does make it a little bit more of a pain in the butt to adjust the top up there when you got to adjust the settings, but it makes it so much easier to change these back shock or springs here. You can actually do it by just taking the bottom off. You don't have to take the whole thing off, because you take the bottom off of it, slide it out, it comes right off. So no problem. These are the springs we got now. We got some from Mentzer's. They are 2.5, 14 inches long, 60 on the actual compression. We got a bunch of weight in the car from last time where we were at. So actually we need to change those to run that kind of weight in the car. But I think we're going to take the weight out, at least some of it for this weekend. It's still going to be back at the track, but we're going to try to do it with not quite so much weight in the car and see what happens. All right, let's shove the transmission in. I want to give y'all an overview of the car. I mean, I've been talking a lot, but a lot of people new to the channel hadn't seen the car. I mean, it's you know, throw together junk that we done, and well, look at there. That is spray foam. Oh yeah, I forgot. That's where we had a waterfall of. Need to trim that up. Oh, I just trimmed it up. Done. We had a waterfall of sand that come out of the frame rails there when we done that. I still run the transmission cooler. Anyway, that's what this car is. I wanted to show y'all. I hadn't done a walk around the car for a while. All right, let's put the transmission in. All right, guys, well, we got the transmission up in there, and this thing's got a mid plate, so we hadn't been running. Well, it's just for the last race, actually. I took that thing off to put the dump valves on. But, you know, it's probably not the best idea, even though this is pretty sturdy. And so Mike is building us a custom cross member. He's got all the parts and pieces. He's got some chromoly tubing, and he's made, this is going to be like professional stuff. Look at there. And it's right in the perfect spot to make it so that it will do exactly what we need it to do. And this was on the car when I got it. Apparently they had tore out the factory cross member stuff, and that's a little more rugged. But it's interesting. All right, looking up here, we got torque converter spacing. Go over this real fast. This is real easy to do. So the converter is pushed all the way back up in the transmission as far as it'll go. So this space, what you need to do is measure this space. For instance, if this space is 300 thousandths thick, you need to put a shim in between here to take up some of the space. You want this space in here to be somewhere between 125 thousandths and 187 thousandths. So that's an 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch. So that's pretty critical. If you pull it too far out like this is, then the problem, it'll pull the converter out of the pump in the transmission. If you push it so there's not quite enough space, you run the risk of potentially hurting the thrust in the motor and also wiping out the pump in the transmission. So I mean, you gotta be careful. And the other thing you have to be careful of and look for, way up in there, the snout of the converter, it has to go in the back of the crankshaft. You have to be careful though that it doesn't go too deep in the crankshaft and then bottom out. So something you need to think about. So with mine, I've already done it. So we've already measured it. And so once you measure it, it is super easy. So all you do, mine uses these washers. So these washers are all the same thickness within a few thousandths. And we put these washers in there, and these are the bolts we use. The other thing I gotta do, I did get a drive shaft from Shannon. This one is 1 inch longer than my other one. So we gotta put the U-joint on this side, and then we gotta take this forward side off over here. All right, guys, well, we are wrapping it up. We got the torque converter in. Everything's nice and tight. We got the dump valves back on it. Mike is zippy tying and electrical taping our system here. Zippy ties and electrical is what you need. Notice the longer drive shaft has got more engagement. That looks good. We did take the bracket off. I mean, these things are pretty solid. We got them zip tied up, but the bracketry we're not going to use just because we don't have room to get it up in there. We did put the restrictors in here, so I think we're going to be fine there, hopefully. So we good. Drive shaft's tight back here. We did move the 4-link bar down just one hole, so that'll give us a little bit more anti-squat. So hopefully that'll work out good for us. Otherwise, man, we're pretty close. Just need to, we'll put one more zippy tie up here and get this tied up, and then we got to put the power to this, and then we will be ready to fire it up. Guys, well, we got this thing cranked up. Boy, it's a brake clean baby, but it fired right up. No hesitation at all. This is the water I was talking about. Actually, this is methanol running it. Oh, I need to get that up. It's staining my paint job. Oh my goodness. That's not good. Let me wipe it up. Any issue. Might have to repaint the front end, guys. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, I know the painter and I know what color it is. Boy, it did mess it up a little bit, made it a little shiny. Instead of doing flat next time, I might go ahead and paint this thing shiny. Put the gloss on it.
Let me give you some advice there.
What's that?
No.
No?
because anytime you touch the car, leaves fingerprints.
Right?
And then you constantly, you got to buy a little test. You know,
Well, this is true. I mean, that is the good thing about the satin look. Is this good? Okay, we're going to do a trans brake test real fast. We got to check the transmission fluid. We added the last little bit. I think we're good. So we're going to do a trans brake test.
go ahead. Breathers. It's coming out the breathers.
We forgot to put the breather tube back on. Or we did.
I figured you wanted to do that.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about it. So it was just smoking out of there?
Yep.
Okay. Boom, guys. All right, look, I made a crucial mistake on the dump valves. That first time, notice how it did not want to come up. It's because I had the dump valves coming on at 50% throttle. So turning those to 15%, it come up a lot better. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Seems like everything's good. I had them so they were only coming on at 50% throttle, and I always roll into the throttle a little bit. So the dump valves make a difference, man. Now, this camshaft is, man, it's way too big. I'm going to have to get me another camshaft. I mean, that's just, the camshaft is my problem. That's the reason I had to put the dump valves on it. Even with this looser stator, it still is tight, and I can tell it's tight. This camshaft's just way too big. So I'm going to get on the phone, hopefully tomorrow, see if I can get me a camshaft on the way that is a lot more friendly to boost and for... Man, that means I got to take it all apart. I guess I need to take the heads off of it when I do that. It'd be a good time to seal it. Although it doesn't seem to be leaking now. I mean, I guess we got the good block seal in it. And, I mean, you know, I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys, we done. Mike, I appreciate the help. Thank you. He decided he is not going to chance his tomorrow night and take it to the track. So he's going to wait till he gets the gear drive. So I think that's a smart decision. So we will see y'all soon. We're going to try to go racing 7:10 on Saturday. Do some no prep racing and see how this thing works. All right, guys, comment, like, and subscribe. Later, guys.